Well, welcome back again. This is going to be part D of the ABCs of personal growth. Be sure and check out the other videos in this series. There's one each day coming out. This one is titled Discipline. And according to the article at tinybuddha.com, it's the master key to success, being disciplined. As they put it, what's the best use of your time right now? Sometimes that can be getting on with whatever chore you don't feel like doing, but needs to get done, like right now. In other cases, it could be as simple as I need to rest today. I'm exhausted from whatever. I really need to rest today. And just read a book, stare at the TV, nap, whatever is needful at that time. So, discipline can be a lot of different things depending on the situation, the day, the time, and needs, whether it's your needs, someone around you's needs. And I'm checking my notes over here. And they say take it step by step. Don't try and don't try and make major changes all at once in one fell swoop. That's just going to burn you out for sure. Do what needs to be done, what has to be done, and do it right to the best of your ability. So, um, for me, it's being disciplined daily in working on, because I do not have a job at this point and I do not have Social Security yet. I'm too young. Only by a few months, but you know. And there's a need for funds to pay for things I need, pay for the internet, because I'm the one that uses it. Um, you know, just stuff you need to have that is very difficult to live without. So, and some things are not difficult to live without, but they're needful. So, for me to be disciplined, I have to make sure that I'm making things to sell. It's in my case. I'm creating the items to sell online. I have three platforms: eBay, Etsy, and Poshmark. And as far as eBay goes, I have three stores. One is, I'm still moving some things around. I had a store where I could put everything in one store, but that store was costing me $30 almost $30 a month in fees. To change that, I've taken that store and keeping it as an actual store that's, you get some perks along with that. Um, I'm taking it down to the lowest level, which instead of costing me $21.95 a month, it's going to cost me $4.95 a month. But I have less number of items that I can put up for sale. And I was not at my max, but it was getting there. So what I've done is taken two other accounts that I had with eBay for various and sundry reasons, and I've changed the name. So the main one is Nana's Vintage Attic, and that's going to have uh, not homemade items, and it will have vintage items, some newer stuff, but mostly vintage things I find at thrift stores or whatever. Things that I already have, including jewelry that are not handmade. Then I've changed the name of another store to um, AJB Jewel or AG. Bleh, I'm sorry, I can't speak today. Um, AJB Journals. I make handmade journals of various sorts, various sizes, and I'm putting all of those in one store by itself. That's all it's going to have in it. And then I have Angela's Jewel Box, which is the jewelry that I make. Okay, it's not going to have any store bought items or thrift store items or garage sale items in it, just the items that I make. Um, so I'm separating those out. That way, I'm not going to run over the amount that's given me each month and not be able to pay for it. Because with the small, with the ones that don't cost me a monthly fee, the journal and the jewel box accounts, there's no monthly fee as long as I don't go over my 50 items I can list for free. Sometimes they give you extra free ones, and you got to be real careful because you got to take things down if you went over that. Um, but I can list 50 things for free in each store, and that should not be an issue at this time. With the actual store, which has a few perks with it, I'm taking that down to the lowest one, which is 100 items for free, and that one's going to cost me $4.95 a month rather than $21.95. So that's going to be a big difference. I've not been making enough on eBay to pay the fees. So that was my major reason for changing this. Um, anyway, don't know that you really wanted to know about that, but that's part of me being disciplined in doing what I need to do to make things work for me as far as my business. Um, Links to my stores, all of them are in my About page if anyone's interested. I had somebody ask a couple of videos ago about that, and the links are all in my About page. So if you're interested in vintage jewelry, or handmade journals, you got places to go to see them. You can always ask me a question. I'm open for that. Okay, now that's one thing I've done. The other thing is Poshmark is a very time consuming thing to do. It's very social media like. Um, I like the platform. I like that I don't have to pay for anything up front when something sells. Um, they take their fee, and as soon as the customer is happy with the item, they've received it. It's been no more than 3 days after they've received it, I get my money. Okay, I don't like having to wait an extra week to receive it, but it's okay. It works. I don't like that they take a 20% commission on top of me having to work so hard to promote my own items. I don't have to do that on eBay. I don't have to do that on Etsy. But on Poshmark, if you never share your items to your followers and make, follow other people and they'll follow you kind of thing, and play the game of sharing at the parties or sharing, throughout the day or whatever, um, you don't get as many sales. That's what I've discovered over a year of doing Poshmark. So I'm it's causing some problems in that the last party of the night is supposedly the best one to share your items, because especially right at the very end, because it's the first thing in somebody's feed they're going to see. I'm not so sure that that's really making a big difference. Um, I don't shop like everybody else. When I go shopping, I put in the search bar what I'm looking for. That's how I've always done it on eBay. That's how I do it on Poshmark if I'm looking for something. Um, and same with Etsy. I don't just look through my feed because it's going to be thousands of items that, if it's clothing, it's mostly not going to be my size. If it's jewelry or other things, other accessories or whatever, it may or may not be my style, my color. Um, and it's just too much to wade through. I don't have a smartphone. I have a flip phone, but it's not a smartphone. So internet's all I have, and I don't want to spend all day long on the internet. I don't think it's healthy. It's not good for me. And I'm spending way too much time late at night sharing to Poshmark. At least it's an hour earlier here than when I lived in Texas. Um, but still, their last party of the night is from 8 until 10. And everything I read says, share it at toward the end of the party. So it'll be near the top of the list if somebody goes to the party to see what was there. I can't do that. I really can't. I need to be wound down and going to sleep between 9:30 and 10. That seems to be what works best for me personally in my life. I am a night owl, but I live with someone who is not. And most days he's up at 4 a.m. So when he goes to bed at 7:30, I have to be quiet in my room. When he gets up at 4 a.m., he tries to be quiet in his room. So, trying to make this work better. Not that I'm going to get up at 4 a.m., because I can promise you I am not. But if I go to bed between 9:30 and 10, I'm generally up and awake by 7:30, which I feel is reasonable. It's daylight by then. And thankfully, I have a room with a window, which I have not had for almost 7 years. My room in my parents' garage, it was a room built inside of a large garage/shop. And there's no window. Well, we put one in, but it only goes to the inside of the garage. And that was so we could put an air conditioner in it. So, yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of sunlight in 7 years. So I really enjoy the windows here. And right now, it's freezing cold outside. There's snow piled up. There's ice out there. I'm not going outside, but it's sunny almost every single day. At some point, the sun comes out. It's rare that it doesn't. So anyway, I'm rambling again. But I'm trying to be more disciplined in how I approach my business. I don't make a lot with it, but every little bit helps, since I have not been able to find a job with a paycheck. My age probably has something to do with it. It's also a very small town, and most of the businesses would require you to be basically working retail, which is being on your feet all day. That's physically not possible for me. I have some issues that I need a job where most of the time I'm sitting at a desk type situation. Those are very few and far between. The ones that I have found that I have applied for, I've been turned down. Possibly because I don't have any medical knowledge to work in the health industry. So, that might be a blessing in disguise, because I think they require you to get flu shots, which I don't agree with. So, anyway, I understand their reasoning, but I have my reasoning. Anyway, doing what needs to be done, doing what has to be done, and doing it right. Don't slough your way through something. You will be very disappointed in the outcome. Now, whether that's something you're doing at home, or whether that's something you're doing at a job, or something within your personal life, if you don't put your best into it, you will not be happy with the outcome. It's just, Either somebody else isn't going to be happy with it, but mostly you're not going to be happy with it. I know I've got a couple of pieces of jewelry that they don't get any likes, they don't get any shares, they don't get any attention. Um, I'm going to be pulling those down and I'm going to rework them. I got some better ideas. So it could be I just moved on it too quickly. It could be I didn't think out my design well enough in the beginning. So, if something sells great, if somebody's happy with it, that's great. If not, I'll pull them down and I'll rework them. I'm not going to lose anything but a little piece of wire and a couple of crimp beads. You know, Everything else is reusable. So, that's the nice thing about making jewelry. If you don't like it, cut it apart and redo it. And actually, even the wire you don't have to throw away, you just use it for something smaller. Um, so that's about all I can say about the discipline part of it. Um, do what needs to get done. If you don't clean your house every so often, you're going to get sick because of the dust and stuff that settles and creates allergies. Um, if you don't clean your toilet, you could get sick from that. If you don't clean your refrigerator every now and again, you could get contamination to your food and get sick. There's just a lot, it just break it down to the simplest things, and that's what you come up with. So I'm not saying anybody's house has to be immaculate. Lord knows mine is not. But it's clean to the point that nobody's going to get sick. Because nobody wants that. Nobody. Let's see. Checking my notes over here. That's pretty much, they didn't really go into a lot on the discipline part of it. It's a very short little, like 2 lines of a paragraph. Is what they said for discipline. So take it how you want. Do with it what you want. There will be a link in the description below to the actual article. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off because we're already at 17 minutes. But thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening to me ramble yet again. I got 2 more to make today, 2 more videos to make today, so that I can do that on the days when there's another person here. And we'll see you next time, I hope.